Welcome to Grounded Guidance, a casual space for conversation with curiously intuitive minds as we explore fascinating topics that stretch our edges to think differently, live aligned with the pathway we are choosing each day, and propel us to move through life with a new lens on the world. Each week we will explore in this space ideas that may challenge conventional thinking, encourage us to be intentional with our thoughts and actions, and grow through conversation with each other and with you. Join us.
There we go. Hey. Took a hot second.
Hit the wrong button.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How's it going?
So good.
Welcome, everybody, to Grounded Guidance. We're glad you are joining us. Thank you for those of you that are joining us again this week. We are your hosts, Kim, Karen, and Kayla. We are super excited about tonight's episode. We are talking all about the wonderful and fascinating world of dreams. So, ladies, I want to know, have you been dreaming?
I have.
Yes, dreaming and dream journaling.
Dreaming and dream journaling. Wow.
Yeah, we've been consciously dream journaling this week, right?
Yes, we talked about that last week, how deciding on this episode that we would make a conscious effort to recall our dreams and then kind of write down what we're dreaming about.
Which is actually a lot harder than I was expecting because you forget your dreams very quickly.
Yes. Yes, it is. It seems so clear in your mind when it's happening. And then the second your conscious mind takes over, it all just slips very quickly into the ethers. So we'll talk a little bit today about that.
Before you even, as soon as I sit up in bed, then it's gone. And then I'm thinking about my day and everything's gone already.
Yes. I'll be interested to hear what little tactics you guys learned for recalling more of your dream, right?
Yeah. Today, for me, actually, I forgot my dream and then something happened or something triggered the memory of it. I forgot it as soon as I woke up and then something happened that reminded me of what I was dreaming of.
Yes, that has happened to me. Actually, I think we were talking about this yesterday. When you nap you'll dream at night, then either you nap or you do some sort of meditation, you can tap back into the dream space often, which is kind of a fun thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk. There's lots to chat about with dreams. One of the things I really love about dreaming is this is a universal thing. No matter who you are, no matter where you live or what you do or anything, we all dream, all of us. Now, we don't all remember them all the time, and that's the difference. I'm sure, I know I've heard both of you say, "Oh, I had the weirdest dream last night," right? And I'm sure you've said that to people you live with. I say it all the time. Gosh, my dream was so weird, because it is weird. It's hard to find context for our dreams. The deal with our dreams, though, is our conscious mind speaks in language, and it's our analytical, logical brain. Our right brain, creative brain, dreaming mind speaks in symbols. And so when we're dreaming, we dream in these really elaborate scenarios that really feel like sometimes chopped up symbols when we wake up in the morning. And the beauty of a dream is to be able to interpret what those symbols are. So the unconscious mind, where we dream each night, speaks to us in symbols. And the gift in all of this is learning how to interpret the symbols.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and
like
what the symbols are to you.
Yeah, what symbols are to you. They're exactly. Yes.
Because they're different for everybody, or they could be different for different people.
Yeah. And how many of you have seen like the dream interpretation guides, right? Like it's so fascinating to like pull up a guide and be really curious about, oh, what that dream is. Or you can Google what your dreams are. Right?
Them in preparation for this conversation. Nothing really felt right though. Like none of them, I was like, I don't think that's what that means.
Right. And I think it's really kind of a fun novelty. But I would definitely encourage you to really dig in and learn the language of your dreams, because they definitely have things to tell you, for sure.
Yeah. I have a little dream journal or dream Bible that says all the symbols of what they mean. But you mentioned that like each of our symbols are unique to us. So maybe it's not as relevant.
Yeah, I think
it could give you context though, yes. Right? Like context for the symbolism of some things that are more common, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe like a launching point, like where to start. You have this strange dream about, a purple frog driving a car down the road. Like where do I even start, right? How do I start with that? But as you learn to recall your dreams and really listen to the messages in your dreams, you find that there's a lot of themes and messages. Your dreams are really trying to talk back to you each night. So one of the things that's really interesting about dreams is, as a dreamer, you are always dreaming about the dreamer. So when you dream about somebody that you know, somebody you work with, or somebody in your family, they are simply a reflection of you. The dreamer is always dreaming about the dreamer. And they're just merely a reflection of what you are processing within your subconscious mind. What do you think about that?
Which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun because you can kind of be anyone in your dreams is really you, right? So like you see a celebrity in your dreams, you get to live as that celebrity for a little while.
Right.
You're just dreaming about yourself.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I just think our dreams would be so boring if I saw all of these like just these little heads of myself, right?
Of yourself, yeah. It would be really uncomfortable.
Like I just don't think we'd be able to we'd have a harder time understanding, right?
Yeah.
It gives us context to who these people are and why they're why they're showing up and what's the message.
So the other day I had a dream and it was my whole family and my extended family was getting attacked by dinosaurs and Godzilla. And we were protecting ourselves by shooting them with marijuana.
like slingshotting with marijuana, or like how are you shooting things with marijuana? You don't know.
We're just trying to get them stoned. I don't know.
Slingshotting edibles at them.
Throwing edibles in their mouth.
Okay, so this is really interesting. What have you gleaned from it? What have you like?
Well, that was like my most bizarre dream that I journaled about.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Mila, you were in it. We were all shooting.
I can't believe that. Also, the fact that you've held on to this dream and not shared it until just now. Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. Yeah, what's the symbolism of that? That if we could just... chill out, if maybe we can just like
Yeah.
calm the negativity in our life. Is that the
Oh,
symbolism?
maybe with marijuana.
Yeah.
Everybody just needs to chill. All you dinosaurs need to just chill.
relax, man. Just relax.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of because that's kind of weird.
It was wild. So Karen, you said that we have a way of like remembering our dreams. Like there's a way that we can remember them.
Yes. There's a couple things that you can do. One, so the brain moves through these different brainwave patterns when we sleep. We'll talk about this in just a little bit. And we get to our deepest sleep is the delta brainwave state. So we get in there and we don't always dream in the delta brainwave state, but when we're dreaming, we move in and out of these brainwave states throughout the night. And the trick when you're waking up is to maintain or to stay within a certain brainwave state before you open your eyes. As soon as you open your eyes, your brain wants to cross back over to the logical reasoning side, which makes it really tricky to remember anything that happened on the right brain creative side. So let's bring up the image of, yes, there we go. We'll talk a little bit more about this. So on the right side of the brain, so the left side of the brain, this is like looking down on a brain. You'll see that the left side of the brain is your analytical, logical brain. This is your conscious mind. This is what's happening during the day when you're awake. The left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. And it's in its most basic interpretation. This is the part of your brain that's working really hard during the day to keep you safe and out of harm's way, but it's constantly churning information. The right brain, it's very pretty.
I love how they make, oh yeah, it's like pretty and colorful, and then the left side of your brain is super boring and dull.
It's very important though. So the right brain regulated by your dreams, your subconscious, your intuition, and it also controls the left side of your body. So when you go to sleep at night, your subconscious mind works as soon as you close your eyes to process everything that's happened in your conscious brain during the day. So the really interesting thing about dreaming is whatever is at the uppermost part of your brain for the day is what you're going to be processing at night in your dreams. So whatever so Berly, take your marijuana dream. You must have been processing a lot about that during the day, right? That was the most upper thing for you that day. Now, we dream 5 to 7 dreams a night. So that was probably one of 7 or 8 that you had. So most dreams occur, there's 4 stages of sleep, but most dreams occur in the REM stage of sleep, which is your rapid eye movement phase. Now, you can dream outside the rapid eye movement phase, but the deepest sleep occurs here. So let's bring up the next image because this is so fascinating. So when we pass through these phases at night, REM sleep is what enhances our memory and our learning. And it really is what gives us that restoration. Can you make that a little bigger? So there's a space in the brain called the corpus callosum. And you'll notice right here, it's that on the second image, the one on the right, it's the one that looks kind of like a rubber band in the middle. So what's really fascinating about when we dream is the left side of the brain is your analytical, logical mind. When we're dreaming, we're working in the right side of the brain, where the language is symbols and pictures. And then during the day, our conscious brain is working in words and language. What happens when you wake up is you cross that corpus callosum bridge to move from the dream world to the analytical world. So learning to recall and remember your dreams is to stay in that space that allows it kind of the space between, to be able to allow you to recall more of what happens in that dream space. So that band of nerves is actually very important to help you learn how to recollect your dreams.
Would you say that perhaps right-minded people or people who are more creative that use that right side of their brain more easily remember their dreams, or more easily have that connection to their dreams because they already use that side of their brain more frequently?
That's a great question.
You don't have to have an answer.
Yeah, I do think that's a really good question. I think it's probably true. I mean, that it's a learned skill to remember your dreams, right? Anybody can do it. But it's also a learned skill to practice accessing those different areas of your brain. You know, learning how to play the piano, learning how to do art, learning, you know, all these different things that are manifested on the right side of our brain. But I don't have a scientific answer, but I do think that, you know, accessing our intuition, that gut instinct.
And Kayla, you said you're more left-sided. You're a more left-sided brain?
Definitely. Yeah. I have very little creativity.
Well, you dream every night.
Yeah, I hardly ever remember them though.
So basically we have to remember to remember, is what you're saying? Like we have to remember
remembering, the act of remembering is about stepping into learning this new language. So much of the time it's this conversation around how weird dreams are. Well, they're not weird. They're just, we haven't learned the language yet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard the language. We haven't identified the symbols. We haven't identified what the pictures mean. And when we do, it's like having access to a whole new level of
unconsciousness.
Yeah. I mean, you're just really tapping into something really unique. And it's really special. So let's talk about some common dreams. Being chased, but you can't move anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that happens to me quite frequently. Not that I can't move, but that when I am moving, I am moving so slow that it's painful.
Yeah, like you're in sludge or slogging through. Like you just can't move. Yeah.
For me, it's not even that I feel. It's not even that I'm stuck or trying to get through anything. It's that I am trying to run at full speed, like nothing encumbering me, just running at full speed, but only moving in slow motion.
Yeah, why is that? Is it because why is that?
Yeah,
so bizarre?
That's a great question. Everything always feels like molasses in my dreams. Or like especially when I need to go anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Or like when you need to scream, but you can't scream in your dream.
Yes. I'll actually do it out loud, but I'll mimic what I'm doing in my dream. So I'll be like, you know?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm sure that's fun to sleep next to.
No, it's not. But it's like it's just a strange feeling.
Yeah. Yep. Captain Belly Button knows the feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I know Mrs. Movies, you were talking about this one, losing teeth.
Oh yeah. That is a frequent one of mine. I frequently have those dreams of my teeth falling out. And it's not because they get knocked out or anything. It's just because I'm like just sitting there, you know, touch my teeth and then all of a sudden they start falling out. And I always attribute it to just anxiety, but
yeah.
That's a common dream for most people.
It is. It's a really common dream.
Wow.
Some people will attribute it to feeling insecure, having regrets, not being able to communicate. But again, that's just a very
Yeah, I think Sierra just said that's one of hers that she hates.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not one I've experienced that I remember. I mean, we have. I'm sure at least one of these common dreams will be relevant to those of you listening. What about this one? Naked in public.
I've never had that one.
But Karen, didn't you say you recently had it?
I did, yes. I'll tell you that one. But I wanted to read what that said. I hate the dreams when I try to scream and I can't, but I actually end up doing the movements. Yes, that's similar to like trying to vocalize, and then I kind of wake up and I'm like, what am I doing?
I find those ones kind of like when I wake up, I'm tired because I've been trying so hard to yell at somebody in my dream and it just couldn't get the words out. So then I just feel exhausted.
Yes, I have the naked in public ones fairly often, actually. It's not fully naked, but like some portion. Either I'm missing my pants or missing my top.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I take that back. I think I have had one of those before,
Yeah.
but it's usually like I'm going to the bathroom and like a bunch of people are in the room, or like I'm going pee in a public place. Like, why am I doing this?
No, mine was, I'll share it. I had I was naked. I didn't have a shirt on the top and I had it saved as my screensaver on my computer. And I'm rolling through my day at work and I go to share my screen. And I don't realize that. But the thing is, in this image, it wasn't like I was trying to hide anything. I was just very happy, posing.
Look at me.
My whole team at work saw this image, and I didn't realize. I was just rolling on, talking about all these different things, and there I am, and nobody said anything. Yes.
Well, because in your dream, it's normal to be topless, apparently.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Megan says it's about.
Yeah.
Being
Definitely.
vulnerable. Oh.
Yeah. Anxiety, being exposed, feeling vulnerable. 70% of people have naked dreams.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
surprised you guys haven't had them.
I mean, now that we're talking about it, I think I probably have had naked dreams, just not like in my mind, it'd be like just standing in public and speaking and being naked. That's never happened, but there have been dreams where I've been, like a piece of clothing is missing, or I'm like, wow, I should probably be wearing underwear right now.
That's funny because you're naked in a lot of my dreams.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I just had to bring that up. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. Okay, this is one I have regularly. It has been a reoccurring dream for me, which we'll talk about in a bit. But you forget to show up for the semester, or you miss a test, or it's the end of the term and you haven't shown up all quarter. I mean, that is been a reoccurring dream for me for years.
Wow.
Those ones feel so real
They
too.
do. Yes.
Yeah, like I wake up like, oh my gosh, did I miss an exam? And I'm like, no, you're like mid-30s. You didn't miss anything.
Mine always have to do with the last semester of college. And this class is really hard and I have to pass it to get my degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been there all semester. So I'm cramming the last 3 weeks and it's not going to happen. And it's usually you're pretty overwhelmed with what's going on in your life. So just a starting point. Okay. So, pregnancy, giving birth, generally for the females in the group, but, this can happen at any stage, right? Not just when you're of pregnancy age. I've had these a lot, even when I haven't been pregnant.
Do you think it's because you have had a baby before? Because I've never had a dream like that.
Oh, that's a fascinating question.
I
They
can't
whole point
say that I've ever had one before.
Oh. the whole idea though is that you're giving birth to something new. You're exploring your creativity. You're giving birth to some new idea or new relationship. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. How about dying?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this my segue for my dream?
If you want to share.
Yeah, I
I
guess
I can share mine if you'd rather.
you can share yours, and then I'll decide if I want to be vulnerable with everybody.
Okay, perfect. So I have frequently had car crash dreams
Oh.
where like you're getting into a car crash and then just before like the last impact, I wake up. I guess I don't die though. So maybe that's I don't know what that means. But that's a regular occurrence dream. I think it's
really
usually,
so that's a reoccurring for you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you driving a car?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes I'm just in the car. It's almost always tumbling though.
Oh.
And I'm saying a prayer while it's tumbling. Like
Really?
I'm saying like God please save us, or like
Wow.
and then I wake up before it hits the last tumble.
Wow.
That
weird.
is not a dream that I've had dreams of others dying, but not myself.
And again, I've never seen myself die, so I don't.
Yeah. I still think you're tapping into something though. It's interesting.
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share my dream. I'll share my experience. I feel really nervous to share this, but I think it's important for us to be vulnerable. So I want to be very sensitive to this topic because I'm sure it's maybe affected somebody personally before, but oh gosh, this is crazy. So I recently I got a DUI, and I was under all the legal limits for everything. So I was trying to find the meaning of like why I got this DUI, because I knew I wouldn't have drove if I didn't know that I couldn't responsibly drive. And I had a dream a few weeks later that I got in a car accident. I went over an embankment, which is where I was driving to that night. And I rose above my body and I saw my dead body. And then I had to go to every single person that I had told that I got a DUI that I actually died.
Wow.
And I just see it as if I hadn't gotten pulled over and I hadn't gotten a DUI that night, that I probably would have died that night.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my vulnerable moment.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tapping into a lot of different things going on. They say dying dreams, you might be doing some grief processing, which is interesting.
Is this one of those moments where this is a dream, or is it a possible moment where she's tapping into another timeline?
Right.
In that.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you believe in like parallel timelines, right? Like different scenarios that could have happened.
Yeah, the different outcomes that could have unfolded.
Tapping into quantum physics again. So, sorry, folks.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, here's a good one. How about arguments? Common dream that you're arguing with people.
I have those every once in a while too. Honestly, I am usually yelling at my dad. who frequently yelled at me in life. So
It's your chance to get revenge.
it may be, I don't know. It's
true.
it's whenever I'm having a dream where I'm in an argument or I'm really yelling in my dream. It's usually I'm yelling at my father. Every once in a while I have a dream where I'll yell at him. But that's only happened maybe once or twice, where I just am just really laying into him about something.
The one that I have a hard time with is infidelity. So I will dream that my spouse has been unfaithful. And then I wake up so mad.
That's why I yell at him. Yeah. Because he's being unfaithful in my dream. Like, what are you doing?
And then he'll say, "Well, I what do you mean? I didn't do anything. I didn't even know I was in your dream." It was so real to me.
And then she's mad at me for something I didn't even do for the rest of the day.
Because it felt
It's
real.
It's hard
really
to
real,
it's
I was
really hard to get
asleep.
over those. Yeah.
I was sleeping.
Hard to get over those ones.
I was sleeping. I love that. I was sleeping. Okay, what about unable to find a toilet?
Yeah. Yep, that's happened to me a lot, actually. And it's always, I almost pee my pants in bed. I always am waking up just right in the nick of time to go to the bathroom. It's like I can actually feel the pee sensation in my dream.
Yeah.
And in my physical body. And then as soon as I feel that, it's like, yep, okay. Please wake up. Please wake up.
Wonder, kids that wet the bed, I wonder if they're dreaming, if they're having like really deep dreams and then they just can't wake up from them to break free of, okay, now I got to go use the restroom.
The thing I find weird about the restroom ones is I'm never in a regular bathroom when it happens. Like I'm always dreaming and I'm like peeing in a bucket in the corner of the room for some reason, or or like in very inappropriate places.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. It's never just like in a bathroom by myself. There's always people around. It's always a public location. I'm always peeing somewhere completely inappropriate.
So what does that mean? Like Megan says that her mom has this dream a lot. Is there like a symbolism for this?
Yeah, it's about releasing. What are you releasing?
Well, pee, obviously.
A lot, right? It definitely can be related to anxiety. I mean, think about how you feel in your conscious waking life when you can't get to the bathroom, right? Or you can't find that in your dreams. Also about maybe letting go, like what do you need to let go of, or what are you going to let go of? There's a whole nother philosophy about poop dreams too.
But I never had one of those. Never had one of those. I honestly just think that dream is the physical body manifesting, just saying, hey, you've got to pee. Like, wake up, you gotta pee. I don't think that there's any symbolism there. I think it's just your body saying, hey, you gotta go.
You might be right, because I have never had that dream.
Yeah,
like I just don't. Yeah, I don't. Kim, do you?
Because I've never had a pee dream where I wake up and don't need to pee. I always have to pee.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I've almost peed myself in bed one time for sure.
Okay, now here's it. Let's take this kind of a weird way. So you get up, you're dreaming, you have to get up to go to the bathroom. Can you get back to bed and get back in your dream?
Sometimes,
I did this last night. Well, not to pee though. Yeah. So my brother's dog was in our house this morning at like 4 a.m. She came in through the dog door because she's just knows how to use it now, and she's like, oh, this is great, I can just go into other people's houses. Anyways, she woke me up, so I was in a dream. I woke up to kick her out of our house, and then I went back to bed, and I fell back into a dream, except it wasn't the exact location that I left off. It was like fast forwarded a little bit. Can I just tell you the dream?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was I had to write it down so I didn't forget. So I was like, this is gonna be great for the podcast
Yes,
tonight.
that's good. Yeah, write it down. Yep.
So Eric and the kids and I were in a car, which was a newer car, and we were sitting in front of this old building that was under construction. And it was like half, you could see the construction workers inside the building. So it's almost like the front face of the building was pulled off. So I could see into the building, but I could see them working, and they were building back up bricks that had deteriorated. So as they were trying to replace these bricks, they built a new brick wall inside the building, and like the second floor of maybe a 4-story building. For some reason, I feel like it was like a mill of some kind, but mills weren't traditionally made of bricks, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyways, and then as they're building this wall, it crumbles. So the second floor of this building starts just falling apart, and then you see all of these construction workers jumping out of the building. And it wasn't a big jump. Like, they were sliding down ladders and things like that. So everybody that was leaving the building was getting out safely, except for 2 guys that went into the bathroom while they were there, which was really bizarre. Anyways, the dreams are weird.
Your dream too.
Yes, dreams are weird.
Yeah.
Everybody is fleeing the site of this building as it's starting to crumble, and we're in the car and we see the building starting to fall. So Eric starts backing up the car very quickly, and he starts backing up, and then this plume of dust starts following us, and dust and debris start following us as we're backing up this car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this new car is going to get scratched. But then, like, I don't know, he backed up like an idiot. I mean, like, which is not typical for him. That's typical for me. And he's backing up, and then I woke up as we're like trying to run away from this plume of dust and debris. And then I woke up and got the dog out of the house. And then when I fell back asleep, we were back at that location, only the building was gone, and it was just a flat foundation, and there was a wedding vow renewal happening.
Wow, that took a turn.
Yeah, my neighbors, of all people, down the road, were renewing their vows, and they had all of the friends and family there, and yeah, we all just started dancing and stuff, and then I woke up.
So I'm really curious about not so much the interpretation, because that's impressive how much detail you got.
It was a really vivid dream. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very vivid dream. I'm curious, when you get up to go to the bathroom, and I'm curious for the people listening, do you turn on any lights?
No.
So you kind of slog.
There's a night light in the bathroom that kicks on when I walk in, but I don't turn on any lights.
Yeah, so you keep your brain working in the unconscious right brain. It's not crossing over to the left side. You're still in that dream space.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
So you go in, do your business, come back, and you can jump right back into. As soon as our brain, as soon as the light hits our eyes, is when we shift really fast to that left brain analytical processing. Yeah, and that's where we lose a lot of our dreams when that happens.
Yeah.
The light switches our brain. Interesting.
And the light touches our brain. Yeah. Is that interesting?
That's
really interesting, because I can't do that. I usually, the dream's over once I'm up and out. Now I can go back to sleep, but I can't jump back into a dream usually. So that's really interesting. Should we jump into the chat and look at?
Yeah. Somebody said, "Are we discussing psychedelics?" Because my dream is so freaking weird. Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
So Sierra Matlock says the dream I had was this morning, and it was a good one until my alarm woke me up. It was about this boy band, and I loved when I was a kid. LMAO. Yes, I know. I love those dreams where you're like, oh, I just want to keep dreaming.
And like you said, the boy band is a reflection of her. So
yeah. Yes.
Is it though in that situation? I guess maybe. I don't know. Dreams are weird.
A reflection of your love of something,
Yeah.
your affinity for something, right?
Yeah, like when I dreamed about Taylor Swift the other night.
Yeah.
Right.
This is why it's so important to find your own interpretations, your own language, right? So that what resonates with you, Sierra, with that dream, right? It could be that it was just a nice dream and there really wasn't any underlying theme or message for you.
Your dream just wants you to listen to some boy band music for a while. Get back into it. Could be cool again.
Exactly. Has anyone, guess who says, has anyone tried herbals like Kalea, Zaka Tekachichi, aka the dream herb? Yeah, I
can't say that I have.
Yeah, I totally. Please, somebody help me with that pronunciation. No, I'm curious about this though. Wondering.
A dream herb.
Maybe we should try it together.
Yeah,
share our experience.
This is interesting. I'm curious if you've tried it. What your experience has been.
I'm all about the experiences. So, Stanley Hotel in Kala Zakatechi is on our list.
We're doing them both.
Yeah, we'll do them at the same time. Oh, that'll be a fun one.
Oh, Justin says he heard that when we dream in black and white, but the second we wake up, our brain fills in the colors.
Yes,
well, that's interesting.
I've heard that too. I don't know if it's true, but that would be really fascinating. Because I think, colors all have meanings. So the color we ascribe to a certain emotion or a certain process is what we're processing emotionally.
This one's funny. Why am I throwing pickles?
Dreams are so funny. We got to read this. A dream where you see yourself standing in a sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you.
I wonder what the pickles symbolize.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's
I love
hilarious.
it. So good. Edgar Allan Poe once had a dream about being buried alive, which led to some of his short stories.
That is my biggest fear for sure.
What part? Oh, being buried alive?
Yeah. Small spaces and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hear myself.
Yeah.
So if you could bring up the slide with the iceberg, let's look at that.
Do.
So there we go. So the conscious mind, our waking mind, is really 5 to 10% of our thinking, which is really crazy when you think about it, because we are awake for a long time, but we are asleep for a long time too. But the processing, our unconscious mind delivers far more to what's happening to us in the waking life than we really ever attribute it to be. So check that out. The unconscious mind, your automatic bodily functions, your beliefs, your creativity, your intuition, your self-confidence, your self-worth, your values. So all of that informs what's happening in your conscious mind each day. 90% of it. And that just blows
crazy.
my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. That just proves that the Titanic was just a bad dream.
Or really, so much of a person, like if you look at the image of the iceberg, it's what lies beneath, right? I mean, so you just really can't understand somebody by just what you see on the outside. There's so much. We are so complex. So let's look at the brainwave state. So the next image. So Years ago, I used to get really sleepy in the afternoon, and I couldn't understand what was happening, why I was getting so sleepy, other than, you change your diet, you change all these different things. And what I learned is I dug in and learned about our brainwave states. And what I learned is we go through these brainwave states when we're sleeping. So we spend our waking hours in the beta brainwave state primarily, gamma occasionally, but beta is usually where we live or where we operate when we're awake. So where it says 13 to 30, that is how many cycles per minute we move. So you're clipping along at a pretty decent pace here. So this is your conscious thought. This is when you're really focused. This is when you're really dialed into your project. And then as you move into sleep, you move up. So beta into alpha, into theta, into delta. And you'll notice that the brain waves move a lot slower when you move into those different brain waves. So we move into felt. Oh
is
yeah,
it kind of like Inception, like that movie where time? I just watched it today. But where time gets slower in our dreams, or yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Well, our brain waves slow way down, so our processing slows way down. But time slowing down, that's interesting.
Where it's like an hour is actually like 5 minutes in like real life.
Well, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And
Have you seen Inception, Karen? Oh, you should watch it.
that's what it feels like in a dream, though, right? Like you feel like you're there for days or hours at least, and it's probably only like the 2 minutes before you wake up, right?
So yeah, it's interesting though, because we dream 5 to 8 dreams a night, and so we're moving through these brainwave states throughout the night, right? We're not moving out to beta at night. Obviously, we're not waking up every time we have a new dream, but
right.
But yes, we are. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of this time. It feels kind of like a time warp some nights.
Yeah, the concept in Inception is they dream inside of a dream. And so every level you go down, in the level below, a minute is a second in the level above.
Oh.
So as you go deeper in a dream within a dream, each level it gets slower.
It sounds like hypnosis.
Yeah.
This is why I didn't like Inception. It's too confusing.
Let's go to the other graphic. I think it just kind of shows it. Kim, this might be clearer for you. So you'll see here. So this is just kind of a picture of what our brain waves do as they're slowing down. So our beta, you'll notice, is moving really quick. And then as it slows down, it stretches out.
What's
gamma?
gamma?
So the theta brainwave state is where it's a very creative brainwave state. It's where things are slowing way down. It's where you're getting really sleepy.
Gamma is problem solving and cognitive processing. So your normal everyday brainwave as you're doing things in life is probably gamma and beta.
Beta is where you're at when you wake up. So when you cross the corpus callosum, right, between the right brain to the left brain in the morning, you come into the beta brainwave state. So usually from theta to beta. Delta is where have you guys ever had the experience where you're sleeping so hard and you wake up and you're like, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's happening. A dream. I don't know if I had a dream, right? That's usually the really deep, even deeper than delta. So your brain waves are really slow, really slow.
Monday was that for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And the little one too. I woke up, I was like, what day is it? Like, where am I? And I went and woke her up for school. And she's like, what day is it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yes. I'll wake up sometimes. I don't even know who I am. Like, it's just a weird, I have another theory on why that is too, but I think that's an interesting piece. So back to remembering. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, as an intuitive person, do you think you spend more time in the delta theta range than you do in the gamma beta, or more time there than the average person?
During sleeping or waking?
Either.
I definitely don't spend enough time in beta while I'm awake. I daydream a lot. I'm distracted a lot. I think that's because my brain waves, maybe because I meditate a lot. And I dream very, very vividly, but I have since I was very little.
Can we talk about daydreaming?
Yes, let's talk about it. So really quick before we move off this slide, when you, what was I going to say? The beta. So you come into the beta brainwave. Oh, to remember your dreams. You wake in the morning and you keep your eyes closed. If you can stay in that theta brainwave state, that is the magic state for remembering your dreams.
So like remembering to remember to stay in that state.
Remembering to remember, yes. So as we talk about the subconscious mind, it's very malleable. It is very impressionable because your conscious mind wants to tell you everything to do. Your subconscious mind is like, tell it what to do. Tell it what you want it to do. Before you go to bed at night, tell it, I want to remember my dreams. And you get in the habit of doing it and you will start to see little pockets of remembering. So I have some more little tips a little later on. So you wanted to talk about daydreams. Let's talk about the different types of dreams. Let's talk about daydreams.
Yeah, because like, what's the difference of just thinking about your future or like what you want to happen compared to like, yeah, like what's a daydream, I guess?
Well, Kayla, weren't you saying you daydream a lot?
I think I do. I think it's less like the act of dreaming, more like the act of subconscious planning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not necessarily trying to, but I'm running through scenarios in my mind of things that are going to be going on or could potentially be going on. And it's just kind of happening when I should be actually doing something else or thinking about something else.
Yeah, I think that we all daydream more than we think we do. And it is said that over half of our waking hours are spent daydreaming, which I would believe it. I think I spend more than half my hours daydreaming. But I think it's, yeah, I think daydreaming can get a kind of a bad rap because I don't feel like I'm out there just laying in the grass, you know.
No, you're just planning scenarios or thinking through scenarios in your mind, even if it's related to something that you're working on or not. I don't know.
Yes. Sometimes I get too far down the path and then I need to be brought back.
Is that taking you to like a different, like the beta, the theta? Is that you?
I
like
believe
your brain
so.
goes into
Yes.
different
Yes. I believe that I can just pop into some of those levels pretty easily. And so then the theta brainwave said your brainwave's very slow. And so it's kind of just this, you feel like you're kind of in a dream and you're imagining all these different outcomes. So, so what's a common daydream? Now that you know what it is, Kim, what's a common daydream that you have?
I don't know, but I relate to Sierra with having ADHD and like your brain kind of.
Yes, Sierra, that is what I struggle with. I am just like, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And I'll start thinking about, I've got to plan this project. And then I start thinking about, and I just get down these little rabbit holes. They're all really important, but then I've got to bring myself back.
Yeah, and then you catch that you're like not consciously thinking about where you're at right now. Or
Correct.
Okay.
Kim, maybe you're daydreaming a lot.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what ADHD is. It's just like an over ability to daydream, right?
I like that better. That sounds better.
Yeah. I'm just a daydreamer.
We're just daydreamers.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. What about false awakenings? So here's an example. Going through your morning routine, taking a bathroom break, starting the tea, letting the dogs out, only to discover you're dreaming.
That happened to me the one time when I was dreaming that I got up to go to the bathroom, but I was still sleeping. I didn't, and then I woke up and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go to the bathroom."
So last night I had a dream, like we talked the other day about a dream that relates to a past dream.
Mm-hmm.
That happened to me last night. Like I had a dream that related to a dream that I had a couple weeks ago. It was like picking up where I had
left off.
Yeah, like in like a new scenario, I guess.
Yeah, so those are like progressive dreams where you have sequences ongoing, the continuous narrative.
Yeah.
Dream sequels.
Sequels. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we were talking about this, how you'll have a dream and then you'll nap. Like Kayla and I like to nap.
Somebody just mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah,
and you jump right back into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like, whoa, because you're more lucid, I think, for me, I'm a little more lucid in a dream than I am, in a nap than I am when I'm sleeping at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah. So then at that point, yeah, go ahead.
Shadow Vessel just said, "Well, we be discussing premonition dreams and
Yes.
deja vu."
We love it. Yes, we will. What about lucid dreams? So in between dreaming and the waking state of consciousness, this ability to be able to control the narrative of the dream. So you have an awareness in the dream that you are dreaming and you are controlling what is happening in the dream.
So this is
I
like
know we've got
right?
some. Yeah, I know we've got some people in the chat who were mentioning earlier that they had lucid dreams. So I wonder if there's anyone that will chime in about that.
Karen, have you had a lucid dream?
Yes. A reoccurring dream for me is when a dream I had this week was we were camping and we had gone to this, it was just kind of this wide open space, but we were camping in like one of those Sprinter vans. And we had bikes and there were a lot of other Sprinter vans there. And I remember when we checked in, I had to buy a bike lock. And I remember going and getting the campsite set up. And then I was like, I've got to lock up the bikes. And anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night in my dream and had to go check on the bikes. And we had been completely ransacked. Everything was stolen. Everything. So it was like this really high-end theft operation. I have that dream a lot, but in my dream, I know that it's just a dream.
So you controlled it though?
Well, the part that's lucid for me is I have an awareness that it's just a dream. But I didn't really control the narrative. So that's interesting.
So I guess I have maybe had dreams like that where I'm like aware I'm dreaming, but I want somebody to share their lucid dream with us.
Yeah. Tell us your lucid dreams. So lucid dreaming you can learn to lucid dream. That's something that you can actually.
Doesn't dream journaling help with that?
Yes, it's a process. It's an altered state of consciousness. You can change the endings of your dreams, which I think is interesting. We'll come back to lucid dreams depending on what's in the chat. So let's talk about nightmares. So a frightening or disturbing dream. We often wake suddenly, maybe in a night sweat or with this vivid imagery and these very strong narratives. I mean, I think we probably have all had them.
My dinosaur marijuana. Godzilla dream. Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
A reoccurring nightmare I did share with you guys was our dad, who was in a wheelchair, him not being able to save him from a fire. Like, we were in like a hotel and there's always a fire, and not being able to use the elevator to like get him out of the building. That was a reoccurring nightmare I always had.
Yeah, that is scary.
That has to be just anxiety driven, right? Like,
Yeah, true.
the anxiety of being so out of control with so many of his health issues, like not having the ability to control some of those things. So
That's true. It was tapping into that fear, or
the fear. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're induced by some of our greatest fears. Like, I really don't like snakes, so I'll dream about snakes when I'm. That's a nightmare for me.
You're facing your fear. That's good.
Yeah, except for when there's a lot of snakes.
Indiana Jones style.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, nightmares are weird though, right? Like I feel like every scary dream is a nightmare, but then there's some that come in that are like, that was really scary, and like you can't fall back asleep and you can't think of anything else. And then
Now, what do you think that is? Do you think it's just a nightmare, or do you think you're like moving through dimensions?
I've never thought about it as anything else but a nightmare. I usually just think of hot dog toppings and then go back to bed.
Wait, what?
This is a common thing for me
right now.
Yes.
Hot dog toppings.
That's how I get through fearful nightmares and fall back
Wow.
asleep. I will list hot dog toppings and or ice cream flavors.
You consciously do this.
I consciously list them while my eyes are closed. I'm just going through the different ice cream flavors, the different hot dog toppings, until my brain shuts down and I can fall back asleep.
So let's talk about that. That's really actually a very good tactic, because what do you do when you are in the middle of a nightmare or something weird is happening in the middle of the night in your dream space, in your room, wherever you're sleeping, and you are so stuck in this fear portal? You're so fearful about what's happening. What do you do?
Well, I think it's the worst when you're like terrified and then you're like, it's okay, I can fall back asleep. You fall back asleep and you fall back into that same terrifying nightmare. And then you just keep having that repeat and repeat and repeat. It's the worst. But that's what I do. I mean, I list ice cream flavors. It's so stupid, but it works for me.
Does it help you?
Yeah, for some reason it takes it must bridge my conscious mind and my unconscious mind just enough, because I'm listing them while my eyes are closed and I'm trying to fall back asleep. And then it like wipes my brain clean. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does.
So, the whole idea that there's monsters under our bed, and the dark is scary, right?
Yeah.
Dark night of the soul. The dark is scary. We're fearful of what's in the dark. Mm-hmm. When I have a scary dream experience, I need to turn on the light to break what's happening in my brain.
You really have to turn on your conscious brain.
I do. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I have to like completely come out of what's happening and move from the right side to the left side. And okay, I'm just processing some stuff and get out of that dark space, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I mean, there's times I'll have to like turn a movie on and fall back asleep to a movie, or browse, Instagram for a little while.
Yeah. Yes. All of those things. I'll turn on the TV sometimes, just like it breaks the channel, the signal.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. The light. So I'm curious about night terrors. Have you guys ever had them, or know anybody that has had them?
I have not personally, but one of our kids has what I think is probably night terrors. I can't.
Does she like wake
I
up
couldn't say what
screaming, or?
she is awake. That's the scary part, is that her eyes are open, but she's not there. And she's just crying and inconsolable, and you don't know how to help her. And we take her outside for a little while and try to get some fresh air into her lungs. And sometimes that helps bring her out of it a little bit. But yeah.
So a little bit like sleepwalking almost.
Yeah, I guess it could kind of be that. I mean, she looks awake. She seems awake. You ask her a question and she responds usually with no. But yeah. It's not fun.
So night terrors, they're really, really fascinating. Well, they're awful if you've ever witnessed one. It is bizarre. Most often in kids, episodes of intense fear, flailing, screaming, and there's no connection being made. There's no consoling. Often it sounds like they're being tortured. It's really awful. I listened to the story of this woman who was a shaman who a lady had brought her child to her and asked her for help. This child was having severe night terrors. And she did a little journey with this child, like a soul retrieval journey. This is shamanism. We can talk about this on another episode. But anyways, what she learned and what she saw was the child had a curse on them from a prior lifetime that was causing...
I don't like that.
Yes, that was causing these night terrors. And she was instructed very clearly to break the curse. And she was shown how to break the curse. And when she did that, she saw this little African pygmy in the vision. The African pygmy kind of deflated and sulked away. Anyways, the child never had another night terror. And she ended up working with hundreds and hundreds of kids after this and teaching this process and really kind of revolutionizing what night terrors are. Because a lot of kids are over medicated for them because they don't know what to do. So I think that's interesting. That's one idea about it. Is that always what's happening? I don't think so. But
Like the curse is a night terror?
Potentially.
I don't think that's the case with ours. She doesn't have them frequently. It's been very sporadic. But she does, like, she will just be screaming, "Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me." And you just have to physically remove her from the space to break it up. Yeah, it's scary. It's not fun at all.
It's really scary and sad.
We usually just throw some stones in the room and do a little bowl swirling and we clear the energy out of the bedrooms.
Yeah. It could be somebody just really interfering with her energy, right? Okay, so Aaron Two Spirit talks about lucid dreaming. I've had a few lucid dreams, but one I remember is not wanting to be somewhere and realizing I was dreaming and literally just changing the setting. Fascinating. I mean, that's interesting. So trippy. I'm curious when you lucid dream like that, if your brain processes what it needs to, if you're changing the outcome, right? Because when we recall our dreams, they always seem so random and weird. It's because our subconscious mind's kind of on like a free for all. But when we're lucid dreaming, and we're changing the outcome of some of these dreams, are we not processing the same? I'm just curious about it.
How about the dreams when we are consistently dreaming about a person? Is it because they're dreaming about us too?
So give me an example. Like you guys are like, you're dreaming about somebody and they're dreaming about you?
No, like if you consistently dream of like the same person.
Oh, like a recurring dream.
Like somebody keeps showing up in your dream consistently.
Mm.
Yes, recurring dream. Have you guys ever had a recurring dream? Okay, I see Mr. Movies shaking his head. What's been your recurring dream?
There's one I remember from when I was little. I used to have it all the time.
Oh yeah,
Really? You remember that far back?
It's also a nightmare.
Mhm.
It's also a lucid dream, and it's also one of those dreams where you can't move very well.
Yeah.
So you're hitting
And
all the
so
birds with this.
I saw somebody talk about like Jason Voorhees as their dream monster, and he was one of them. But it was all the '80s horror dream, like
This is what happens when you watch horror movies as a child, you guys.
so it's like Freddy Krueger,
God.
Michael Myers, and Jason Voorhees chasing me through a junkyard, like in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And my only way to escape is through. Don't ask me why there's a heating vent in a junkyard, but I have to crawl through the vent. But as I'm crawling through the vent, it gets smaller.
Ugh, I hate that.
So I get stuck.
Like claustrophobic.
You get stuck. Oh, no.
Yeah, and they're crawling behind me, you know, right? And I hear like Freddy with the claws scraping on the metal behind me and stuff.
Cute.
And this happened I've had this dream multiple times, but then I break through the vent and then I'm able to fly, and then that's when I take over and defeat them. And I'm dreaming that I'm in control, and yeah.
So it's almost like you're like a butterfly, like you're coming out of your cocoon in the.
Yeah. So when did the
dream
dream
vent
stop for you?
When did that dream? I've probably had it recently, but I used to have it a lot more frequently when I was younger, when things scared me more.
Yeah.
But a reoccurring dream is different than a dream where there's just the same person in it, right? Like, because I mean,
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's talk about like how do you define that? Because that was the example I was going to use. The same person shows up in these reoccurring dreams with the same theme.
See, I have dreams where the same people show up in my dreams, different scenarios, different contexts, always never the same dream, just always the same people there. They're always people from high school. I always attribute it to like there being unfinished business or something, like something unsettled in the past that was never addressed. And so my dreams are just constantly trying to fix that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One of my most common reoccurring dreams is this guy that I dated in college. I've had this dream for years, and I'll see him and we'll say hello. Oh yeah, we'll agree to meet up later, you know, for drinks, see how you're doing. Never shows up.
Aww.
Never, ever, ever shows up. And what's interesting about that is about a year ago, I had the dream again, but it was revealed to me that we spent a past life together. And so then I'd have the dream again. And I just was like, I have to tell him when I see him that we've spent a past life together. When I see him, I can't wait till we meet up. I have to tell him when I see him. And I did. I was able to tell him. And he was kind of weirded out by the whole thing.
In the dream or in real life?
No, in the dream. In the dream.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's interesting because what I finally have, I mean, I've written about it so many times in my dream journal. What I've learned about that dream is that he was a reflection to me about not showing up for myself. And how I have not shown up for myself enough over the years.
Oh, that's interesting because he never showed up to the date or the.
Yes. Yeah, which I think is really interesting. Reoccurring dreams are interesting.
I almost dislike them. It almost feels like it's bringing up old wounds every time it happens, right?
Yeah.
Like it's almost uncomfortable. I'm like, when I wake up from those, I'm like, oh, seriously? Like, did they have to be there? Did I have to see these people in my dreams? Like, I don't. Why? Like, when are you going to stop doing this?
So do you think also that like if you see somebody consistently in your dream that maybe they're dreaming of you too?
Yeah, I've thought of that. Yeah, like, are you tapping into the same wavelength, right?
Yeah, like you're both up in.
Yeah, I mean, I to the point where I have like thought I should reach out to this person and just
Yeah.
let them know, like, what
Hey,
is going
dreamt about you.
on here? You know, like, why do I keep dreaming about you, right? Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, this is interesting. Oh wait, sorry, wrong one. That's probably interesting too.
Oh, yeah,
but this is what
yeah.
I want to say.
That's interesting too, Harry. We promise.
I've had dreams of people I haven't seen in a while, and then within a week they show up in real life, whether I want them to
So
or
it's like
not.
in like a premonition.
Is that a dream or a premonition? Yeah.
Yeah, that is so good. Yeah, we're going to talk about I guess we can talk about it now. That's probably the juicy ones. Let's talk about them. So, a dream that predicts a future event. I know we have a lot of dreamers in this group.
Mhm.
So, one of the examples that Christian brought up was the example of seeing somebody, and then you see them either the next day or the next week, or you dream of somebody and then you haven't heard from them in a while and they call you. I had a dream. It was about 5 years ago, and I woke having this really strong conviction that a family friend had passed away.
Hmm.
And I didn't know that they were even near death, but I just knew it. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper because I was like, I know I'm going to get a phone call from my mom. Sure enough, about 5 hours later, I got a text that he had passed. So, what is that? Is that premonition? Is it precognition? What are you tapping into? What is that? What is that feeling? Or what are we accessing then?
Oh, hello, it's Megan says, when I dream about a deceased loved one, I always like to think it's them visiting me in my dreams.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
The precognition thing is so interesting though, because how can you tell the difference? I mean, what makes something? Well, no. I was going somewhere and then I changed my mind because it was not right.
So, about 2 weeks before President Lincoln was assassinated, he had a dream that he was walking through the White House and came upon his corpse lying in state in the East Room, exactly where his casket laid after he died 2 weeks later. Harriet Tubman.
He journaled about it, right?
He did. Yeah. Harriet Tubman, the woman that freed so many slaves on the Underground Railroad, claimed that God was showing her premonitions about how to keep 300 plus people safe. And she ended up helping lead 300 more people to freedom, which I think is just fascinating. I mean, that's just...
Is that precognition, or is that her
intuition,
having the dream and saying, nope, I'm going to make this happen, right?
Or was it her intuition that she was following?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The more the spiritual side of dreams, like showing you your destiny. Wow.
Yeah, so here Christian said, I've had that happen several times. Most recently, I had a dream about my sister and woke the next morning to find out.
Not that one.
She had almost died.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we talk about that. What is it that you're tapping into? The two huge, founding fathers of psychology, Carl Jung and Freud, talk a little bit about that. Carl Jung was the big believer in the collective unconscious. So were you tapping into the feeling within the collective unconscious that you were sensing something wasn't right?
Or did she die and you can talk to dead people, and then she was brought back. Right. Like, did she maybe Christian has the ability to tap into that mediumship a little bit, and his sister actually did pass for a moment and then was brought back to the other side.
That's interesting.
I was younger, I had a dream my mom and dad separated. My mom started dating this guy. And 3 months later, my dad walked out. And 3 months after that, my mom started dating the same guy that I dreamt.
Wow.
That's cool.
Wow. That is so fascinating. Yeah, I mean, this is precisely why I believe that dreams are so important. It's so important to pay attention to your dreams. There's so many messages within even the mundane dreams. I work with a gal who, she's like, I'm a very vivid dreamer, but I only dream about the mundane tasks that I have to do every day. Mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, folding laundry. And I said, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Your subconscious brain is processing those tasks that you did during the day. She's like, but I want to be.
I know, she's so boring.
Yeah, she goes, and it's really boring. You just see me out there mowing the lawn back and forth.
That does seem really boring. That does seem a little depressing, honestly. Like, she's got nothing else more intriguing happening in her brain that she's just got to process the mundane over and over again.
You know, she's pretty analytical. I wonder if she just operates
that left side of her brain
Mm-hmm.
doesn't cross over to the right as much. Yeah.
Maybe. So then what she's dumping in the right side of the brain is just
That's
really
interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Which is where creative people probably have more vivid and unique dreams, I would imagine, than non-creatives.
Well, maybe.
I'm not an analytical person at all, and I feel like my dreams are very bizarre. So
your dreams are more creative, right?
Yeah.
They're just more creative.
But you shared your dream, Kayla, and it was very creative.
No, it was just weird. It was very detailed, but not creative. It's just a building falling down.
But you remembered a lot of details from the dream.
I did. It was very vivid. I don't know why, though. It was so boring. I was like trying to interpret it myself this morning. I was like, well, maybe I'm, watching somebody's house crumbling, or I feel like I'm symbolically watching a house crumble and trying to get away from it, but stuck in the plume of it. And then when I jumped back into it later, I thought, well, how nice that somebody was renewing their vows in the same place that this house crumbled, right? Like they were bringing new life to the space that had previously been crumbling.
It's like something had to break down for something good to happen.
Yeah.
So vivid dreams. You both were talking about vivid dreams, also known as epic dreams. So this is your REM. This is also called an REM. So the REM sleep, a REM rebound dream. This is what causes these intense and vivid dreams. It's the mind's response to being very sleep deprived. If you notice when you're more tired or processing things a lot, like you've had a really long day or a really long week, or you've traveled, that your brain's a lot, or your dreams are a lot more active. Yeah.
It's so annoying because all you want to do is sleep hard and not think about anything, and then your dreams go into overdrive. Yeah.
Right. So that excessive stress creates this like really heightened brain activity. This often occurs too when you have fevers. You guys had like really wild dreams when you've had high fever
dreams.
Yeah. So I have an interesting story about this. A couple of years ago, my husband got really sick, and I had gone to sleep in a different part of the house. And I wasn't really worried about him. He was worried about himself, but I kind of just like tapped in and I thought, okay, I think he's fine. I went to sleep. I was woken up at about 1 a.m. from these light beings from the fifth and eighth dimensions. And I was like, what is going on? They were like really tall, and they wanted to let me know that everything was going to be okay and he was going to survive. And then I got really panicked because I thought I didn't
know he was going to die.
Yeah, I was tapping him before he went to bed, and before I went to sleep in a different room, and I was like, he was going to be fine. Well, he was going to be fine, but they were letting me know he was going to be fine. It was about 1:15 in the morning. And I had to resist the urge to go check on him. He was really sick. He was running a fever and everything. Well, the next morning I went in and I'm like, you're never going to guess what happened. He goes, that is the exact moment my fever broke.
Wow.
1:15.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So there was something else happening that I was. Yeah.
I think we need to talk about the dimensions.
I feel like that's a topic for another day.
The fifth and eighth dimension. They were very clear about the being from the fifth and the eighth dimension.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm from number 5. I'm from number 8.
Yeah.
Don't get us confused.
What if our dreams are really just a window into our alternate lives in an alternate universe? Yes, Justin. Yeah. I think that is precisely what's happening.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier when Berly mentioned that she had the dream that she watched herself fall off the cliff and die, and then had to tell her whole family that she died instead of. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, why couldn't that be the case?
So Jay Gon says, "Wait, do you guys actually believe in a type of multiverse that you tap into in dreams?" So let's talk about the next one, which is astral traveling, astral projection. So I'm curious, for those of you that are tuning in live or not, you don't have to be. Have you ever astral traveled? Do you know what it is? Astral project. So the idea that there are many theories about what this is, and I think we'll have a whole episode on this, but that your soul leaves your physical body when you dream at night. And that your soul travels to these different dimensions where you meet different beings and you learn different languages, and you find out things that maybe you don't have access to in your normal 3-dimensional reality. It's like having an out-of-body experience.
I think my soul tried once, but it was like, nope.
Go back to the live. Go back to the live.
Wait, why? Why did it do that? I'm so curious.
That's what Jesse said. Jesse. Oh goodness.
It is trippy. I'll tell you right now, it is wild. I believe that I astral travel every night. What the hard part for me is sometimes when I wake up before everything's back in place and I am just so confused. I don't know where I am at or who am I in this body? I can travel out to things that I don't even really realize are happening. When Mrs. Movie's dad was passing, I didn't know this was happening, but that night I was traveling through these different dimensions and I was being pulled somewhere so strong to be with something that was happening. And I didn't know what it was, but it was like, come now. Like I was being pulled. And, I remember coming back into this dimension and it feels kind of like these mirrors open up and you're kind of like moving in this spiral through these mirrors back into your body and then back out of your body as well. And then I found out that morning that he had passed. And I know for a fact that I was traveling to be with his soul when he passed. So that was
so interesting. You use the word "come now," that phrase.
Yeah.
That when he was passing, that morning, my mom sent a text. It was early. My mom sent a text message to those, my mom, my brother, and myself, that said, "Come now." Like,
oh, wow.
that was the text message she sent. It said, "Come now." Because he was passing and she wanted us to be there if we wanted to be there. So
I did not know that.
it's an interesting
was-
phrase to use.
Yeah, that is
it's not very
interesting.
common.
Yeah, interestingly aligned.
So,
Yeah.
astral traveling and dreaming,
Mhm.
like, what's like the clear, distinct difference between the two?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a great answer for it, other than I feel separate from my body when I'm astral traveling. I feel very grounded in my body when I'm dreaming.
Mm, that's a good way to describe it.
I'm clearly out of this body.
Like, almost feels like you're flying, kind of.
Yeah, floating.
Floating.
It feels a lot like that scene in the movie Soul when they're walking up those stairs and it's just this vast, great, wide open. I had many out-of-body experience dreams as a child where I'd leave my body, walk around my town sometimes, and fly. It felt so real that I can feel the wind and temperature. Yeah. That's amazing.
Polly Mathacali said just before that my mom, did that accidentally once when she was a little girl. The way she explained it, she was so sad, and then she suddenly saw her body as she floated over it. So like that's what you're talking about, the floating sort of situation.
That's how I felt in that dream that I died. Like, I saw my body and then I was like above it, like looking down at my body in my dream.
Okay, so maybe this floating is different though, right? Because when you're astral traveling, you're floating not in a place that you know.
It is.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is the ends of the universe. I mean, it is like deep space. That's what it feels like. That's what it looks like.
You described it kind of like Soul, like that Disney movie.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they talk about astral travelers in Soul. There's actually
they do. Yeah, they do.
I love that movie. It explains this shit so well. It puts this weird shit into a context that is digestible for someone like me who didn't understand how to put it into words. And then I just think it's so interesting, that movie.
I think it's hard to understand when we're in this physical body, right? We understand the 3-dimensional space so well because we're dense human beings. So to explain astral traveling, it is like this, it is completely outside of your body, outside of time, space, outside of this whole reality that we've constructed in the 3-dimensional space. So it's literally out of this world, but it moves so fast. And that's why I don't always know, like, it's hard to have constructs around what's happening or why it's happening. Like the night that your dad died, I didn't know what was happening, but I just felt it was like a soul pull. And I was just, like, because I'm not moving in a body, my body's not moving. It's mind bending. But I do feel like astral traveling allows me to do a lot of work that needs to be done outside of the body.
So when you're astral traveling, is that kind of going into the different dimensions too, like you talked
Yes.
about?
Yes.
Is it its own dimension or is it
Multiple
all dimensions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Multiple dimensions. And
This
I
is
do
the shit
believe,
that's
for those of you that are curious about it, I believe this is a learned skill. You can learn how to astral travel and astral project.
So Megan, you can learn.
she says she wants to use it when she's awake to escape awkward social situations.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That is
Story of my life, Megan.
That is so cool. Yeah, it's you should maybe do an episode on astral traveling
That would be cool.
And invite your mom.
and invite your mom.
Oh yeah. Could do that.
Mrs. Movie's mom is an amazing astral traveler. She's got a lot of beautiful stories. Okay, so let's talk about this was a new one for me. I didn't have a space and a time for this, but I didn't have a construct for this. And it has only happened recently to me, but I'm curious if anybody else has experienced this. So last spring I went down to northern Arizona and I went to Antelope Canyon, which is the slot canyons that are owned by they're run by the Navajo. It's a really fascinating place where the light kind of flows through. It's just beautiful. Anyways, I got home from that trip and I had this dream but it was like, it was just bizarre. I was dreaming. I woke up. I was fully awake and I was in the cave. I could smell it. It felt cold. It was damp. And I could see the light beams in my bedroom. I was fully awake seeing this. I was like, this is bizarre. What is happening? So I got up to use the bathroom, and then halfway to the bathroom, the bedroom came back into came back to see. It's happened twice.
So you're dreaming conscious dreaming? Or
Yeah.
is this a timeline universe
Yes.
where the timelines cross? Interesting.
I don't know. I'm curious if anybody else has experienced anything like that. Right? Because you could say if you didn't wake up that you were just dreaming about being there. And I think I was, but I woke up because I'm like, oh, this is really, and I'm like looking around the room and it's like I'm in the cave.
I wonder if that could be considered a lucid dream. Like except for instead of you being aware that you're in a dream, you're actually awake, aware that a dream is occurring, but your brain barrier hasn't crossed back over. So you're almost stuck in the center.
Yeah, but
That's
why
interesting.
Why did I get stuck? Like what caused
your brain waves, right? I mean, if we're talking about brainwave situations, right? And this is just me spitballing here.
I'm curious. Yeah.
If your brainwaves are moving slowly while you're dreaming, and you with your intuitive skills, I think they have that natural inclination to move a little bit slower sometimes anyways. So if you're stuck in the middle, trying to cross over from the right brain to the left brain, and your brainwaves are moving slowly, perhaps I don't know. Maybe instead of when they cross the path, switching over to more up and down, faster waves, they just kept going slow. They just kept riding the slow wave into the left side of your brain until, eventually it was like, oh, hold on, I'm in the wrong part. And then started
That's a good point.
the gammas away.
Yeah, like maybe I opened my eyes, but like the light didn't trigger a different. You were just the analytical brain, so it stayed in the dream, but my eyes were open.
Yeah, you were just riding that theta wave a little longer than you should have.
I like that.
That's
It's really
interesting.
Yeah,
So
isn't that?
interesting.
Is that kind of how we like sleepwalk too? Maybe like we wake up and then we.
Sleepwalking. Why do we sleepwalk? I'm really curious about this because I was a sleepwalker when I was a kid. I don't do it so much anymore.
I think Justin might be onto something here. He said maybe some information is just getting stuck on the bridge between the right and left brain when you wake up. And maybe that's where sleepwalking lives too, right there on the bridge.
I love that idea.
Where it just gets stuck. And so your body's like, oh yeah, I'm awake and doing these things, but then your brain is just not ready to process that quite yet.
That is a really like you're stuck in that band of nerves, the corpus callosum, right? And you have it moved to the left side in the morning, or you're kind of in that limbic state.
And sleepwalking kind of makes sense because if we think back on that picture that you showed, the right side of the brain is controlling the automatic body part movements, right? The things that is just muscle memory, the things that you're not consciously thinking about. Well, and walking is one of those things. Usually you're not consciously thinking about walking to get from one place to another. You're just doing it.
Right.
So I just wonder if maybe because those live on the right side of the brain together, they're easily, if you're going to get stuck in the middle, they're just working together anyways.
So I have an interesting story about sleepwalking. So I did it a lot when I was a kid. I don't do it so much as an adult, but the other night I woke because I smelled somebody cooking something.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of tripped me out. It kind of made me fearful. It's like 2 a.m. Who's cooking something? Jump out of bed and I'm like, who's cooking something? Who's cooking something? My husband wakes up and he's like, nobody is cooking anything. I'm like, I swear I could smell something being cooked.
Because your Claire smells. Your Claire smells.
Yes, right. And it smelled like beef stew or something. And I'm like, why at 2 a.m? And then clearly it was not there. It was there, and then it was not there.
Ooh, was that a clairsentience or whatever?
No, Claire Gustance.
Claire Gustance.
Yeah, so what?
Claire smells.
Who wants me to smell beef stew in the middle of the night?
Not the greatest smell.
Smell it. Thank you. But I was completely aware of that. Like with your sleepwalking, you don't always remember. A lot of times you're mumbling things. Yeah.
I sleepwalked once when I was younger, and I just realized a couple months ago, like how I sleptwalk, like why. But so I was watching Hocus Pocus when I was younger, and I figured out why I dreamt it because I watched Hocus Pocus in October. But so I was watching Hocus Pocus over at my cousin's house, and then in the movie where there's like the time limit, and then they have to like suck up the souls the children's souls. So I fell asleep after the movie, and my parents came and woke me up, and then I was in that bridge point where I like was still sleeping, but I was.
Oh yeah. So while you were watching the movie, you fell asleep, and then they woke you up when you weren't fully dreaming but fully conscious, that kind of thing?
Yeah, they woke me up to take me home because I was at my cousin's. And so then when I got into the car, my grandpa was in the car with them, and I was looking at the clock, and I went up to the clock and I was like, suck it up. And I was like, suck it up, Grandpa. And my grandpa was like, suck it up, Grandpa. Because I was like, he needs to suck up children's souls.
Oh my gosh, that's the best.
And when I was younger, I couldn't figure out like what happened in that dream, like why I dreamt it. But when I watched Hocus Pocus a couple of months ago,
now you remembered. Oh my gosh.
Of why. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was telling my grandpa to like suck up the souls before the time got to like midnight or something.
You have some people
That's
laughing.
A weird one.
Yeah, my grandpa was terrified. He was.
Come up, suck it up. She's talking about the soul, sucking the souls here. Somebody mentioned. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
No, you go.
I will get up and check on things. Like I'll be dreaming about something and then I'll wake up not coherent at all. And then I'll wake up where I'm at. Like I'll be in the kitchen. Like, what am I doing in the kitchen? And then I'm like, oh, I think I was just dreaming to check something, or I gotta check to see let's go to bed.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So what if your dream puts you outside in the middle of the street and then you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm in the middle of the street sleeping here. Ooh.
Yes. Usually I wake up, but yes, sleepwalking's yeah.
Someone mentioned earlier about sleep paralysis or dream paralysis.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that? I think that's terrifying.
I think only when I'm trying to run away from something.
Hmm.
But I don't know if that's really sleep paralysis.
Right.
Like what would an example of sleep paralysis be?
Is that
like
a type
when
of lucid dreaming? Or maybe not. I don't know.
Have you guys experienced it?
No.
I don't think so. I'm always able to move in my dream, just really slowly.
Yeah.
I sleep in the night. That would be scary.
You make your neighbors very
Would that be both
uncomfortable.
sleepwalking and a naked dream?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. That is just
Rockstar says sleep paralysis is where you're half awake but still dreaming. Well, then that's kind of that middle, getting stuck in that middle brain barrier that we're
Stuck on the bridge.
when you're half awake and half asleep, but paralyzed for the most part.
So let's talk about intuitive dreams, because I know you all have had some intuitive dreams. So what is an intuitive dream? Why do we have them? So actually, Kaylee, you were telling me one about a volcano, right?
Oh yeah, this was not too long ago actually. I dreamt one night that I was walking around a volcano while it was exploding. Like there was lava pouring out and I was like trying to get away from magma, excuse me. There's like magma and all over the place and I'm trying to get away from it. And I woke up the next day, I was like browsing, news articles online and I saw that a volcano erupted. It's somewhere in the world. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I just had a dream about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't talk about prophetic dreams, but I do believe you're tapping into the collective unconscious when you are doing that. Yeah. Was it something specific? No, but you did dream about an event that happened. So on 9/11, this isn't really about dreams, but it's interesting. A lot of the planes that flew that day were half full because a lot of people had dreams the night before 9/11 to not get on those airplanes.
Those are, the Premonition dreams. And that is like the movie. What's that movie? Final Destination.
Destination.
That's what the Final Destination movies are all about. These premonitions or dreams and intuitive dreams. Yeah.
And some of them were only half full because people had a premonition or a dream that something was going to happen that day. Some people were very detailed about what actually did happen. But I think that's really
bad feelings. Yeah. That's why you have to listen to your intuition. You have to listen to that gut instinct when it tells you don't do something. Or like I had that just this last year. We were supposed to go to a wedding across the state and we sent the girls to grandma and grandpa's house. We were all set to go. And I was like, I don't feel right about this. Something feels wrong. I don't think we should go. I started crying about it. Like we should just not go. It doesn't feel right. And we didn't. Maybe nothing would have happened. Maybe I was just having anxiety, but I trust my intuition. So I listened to it.
Everybody trusted.
Yeah. That's fascinating. One of the things about intuitive dreams that I think is important to note is I'll have them about the most mundane things. but they end up being really important messages. So I remember when I was having some gut issues, and I ended up having this dream about how I need to cut beans out of my diet. And I don't eat a lot of beans, but like it was very specific. Stop eating the beans. And it like cleared everything up.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. I also had this dream about this supplement that I was taking, and this specific herb in this supplement called bladder rack. And I hadn't even noticed that this herb was in this supplement, and it was very clear. Stop taking bladder rack. I'm like, I'm not taking that. What is they
bladder
talking about?
rack?
Yeah, what is that? And then I realized it was within this supplement that I was taking. Stop taking it. I was having chronic hives. Stopped the chronic hives. So it's sometimes like the littlest things in our dreams or naps or whatever that I believe we have to pay attention to. They're like little hints along our journey.
Our higher self telling us. What do you think it is? Who's telling us the messages? Our intuition?
What do you think is telling us?
I think it can be many things. I mean, I think it can be just our own intuition, but sometimes driven by angels, right? I mean, your guardian angels, I think impact your intuition a lot. I don't know that they have all of the say, but I think they definitely play a role.
I really like this about, the intuition. This is crazy.
I was in my mid-20s, overdosed, and my mom showed up at my house because she had a feeling. She drove me to the hospital and saved my life.
I'm glad your mom trusted her intuition.
Yeah, that's huge.
I think that's also interesting. I think moms specifically have these deep connections to their children, and sometimes their intuitions about their children are so spot on. And I wonder if it's because the child lives in the mom, is part of the mom for so long, if part of her soul holds a little piece of their soul.
Yeah, like the umbilical cord that connects you.
Like their souls are so connected because they spend so much time together in the womb.
They were physically connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why mom's intuition, you got to trust it. You got to trust your mom's intuition always.
And your dad's intuition.
Yeah.
And your intuition.
They're a part of you too, I guess.
Even if you're yelling at them in your dreams, right?
Right.
All right, so this is a fun one. Dream visits. So people that you've loved or not that have died, and they come to you in a dream. How do you know if it's a dream and they're just showing up in your dream, or it's a visit from them? And have you had anybody visit you in your dreams? And the difference between the two. What about you guys? You both have lost somebody close to you recently. Have you had any dream visits?
Not that I remember. But
go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe now I'll notice them and remember them if it happens.
So she's
had dreams where her dad's in them, but not dream visits.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's three main differences between a visitation, a dream visit from a deceased loved one, and a dream, and a regular dream that they're just in it. The first one is they make you feel really good and comforted. You don't wake up wondering what was happening, right? Number two, the image of them is very, very clear and crisp and vivid. So when I have had dream visits, often the person looks a lot younger, and their clothing is really crisp. Their hair is very sharp. Everything's very detailed. They look a little bit younger, but very healthy. I don't normally see them when they're maybe if they had aged or they were sick when they passed.
Do you think they take on the appearance of what you would like them to see?
Yeah.
Your best version. Is it your best version of them, or is it their best version of themselves that they present you with?
Yeah, I've actually thought about that. I do believe it's kind of where they're at on their journey and where they're progressing. Because I've had dream visits with people that have not progressed at all, and they look very different. And it's been 20 years since they passed. So the third one that the third thing that you can really tell between a visit and a dream is they're very direct with you. They want to sit with you. They want to touch your arm. They want to look you in the eye, and they usually have a message for you.
I'm feeling a little deja vu. Like I feel like you're reminding me of a dream I had or something of like.
Oh, so maybe you have had a visit. You just don't remember it.
Yeah. Like the physical part of like being able to touch him or something.
Yes.
That feels familiar.
So my granddad showed up to me about 3 years after he passed, and he was sitting right in front of me in a chair. And we were in this deep conversation. It was very intense, and we were like face to face. And he shared with me this very important message that I think is important for humanity. But he said, make sure that you believe in what you cannot see. He said that when we die, we simply shed the physical body, but we are and always will be more than our physical body. And he said, Karen, you know this, but it's really important that you continue to help others understand this. And I thought, when I woke up, I was like, oh, that's kind of a big message.
Yeah. That's a heavy lift, Granddad.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's...
Oh, what were you saying?
Well, do you feel like that's like transferring from one body to like another, or like changing from one physical, like your physical body? Is that what you're saying? Like you're turning into something else?
Like his message?
Yeah. Is like to know that we're always...
Oh, no, I think, well, the way that I interpreted it was that we are more than, so when we die and we shed our body, we are still, I think a lot of people struggle that when people die, they're gone.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it depends on your beliefs, but it was kind of this great message that we are beyond what our physical body is. We are infinite. There's ongoing.
More after this life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely feel more connected to my dad now that he's gone.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe that could be a good episode next, is like how our loved ones send us symbols and signs that they're still with us.
Oh, that would be a great episode.
It would be.
I love that. So I love the idea that there have been so many important things that have happened in history by people that have dreamed about them. So Paul McCartney and the Beatles, he dreamt the song Yesterday. The entire song was a dream. Then he woke up, wrote it down, and then they ended up, playing the song.
Talk about a vivid dream. Shit.
Oh my God. Yes. I just think that is so amazing. There's just countless stories of this kind of thing where scientists have saw things in their dream and then woke up and had the answer to specific problems. But I think we all have access to that. We all can tap into that. All of us. Issues we're struggling with every day. Things that we're struggling with at work or relationships, or there's always an answer. There's always some sort of corner to peek around that gives us insight into what's happening.
I had a friend he's a musician, and he said that he was visited by, oh gosh, so I can't remember who it was, but some like a famous artist visited him in a dream and gave him like the lyrics to a song, and then
Oh.
he woke up in the middle of the night and wrote a whole song. Which was, and then ended up becoming one of their hits.
Yeah, that's just amazing. So one of my favorite ways to tap into your inner genius is taking a nap. So like I talked about earlier, I struggled a couple years ago with getting really sleepy in the afternoon around the 2 to 4 time frame. And it just felt very disruptive to have to go take a nap. And what I learned was about the brainwave state, that if you can rest your brain halfway between when you wake up and when you go to sleep, you can actually be a lot more productive in your day. But the trick to it is not sleeping past 20 to 23, 24 minutes, because what the research shows is that our brain dips into the delta brainwave state beyond about 25 minutes. Now, it depends on how long it takes you to fall asleep, but that's kind of the sweet spot, 20 to 23 minutes.
I usually set an alarm for 30 minutes, alarm, knowing it's going to take me a few minutes to fall asleep, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, with the expectation that I'll probably only be asleep for about 20, and that'll be the perfect amount.
Yes.
Makes you feel refreshed.
Yes. Hello, it's Megan says, I take so many naps, I should be creating art masterpieces. Yeah. So,
she also said earlier that her dead loved ones visit her in her dreams quite frequently, and they don't talk to her, but she feels a sense of calm.
Oh, wow.
Is this it?
That's it. Yeah, comfort. Yes, she feels comfort when she sees them.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I think what a blessing for you to have, Megan. Like what a great thing to be able to have.
Yeah, even if there's no message, just that sense and that emotional connection, right? That they're comforting you and that you feel connected. Yeah, so the tapping into your creative genius, this is what I call the nap session in the afternoon. So one of the ways that I like to do this, and I don't think Kayla likes this, but there are a million videos on YouTube where you can, tap into your power nap or whatever, but finding either the alpha or the theta brainwave state. So type in theta power nap or alpha power nap. And then usually it'll go longer than 20 minutes, 22 minutes, but set an alarm for that. And you will find that you will wake feeling refreshed and rested.
It plays plays a certain music, certain frequency.
Certain frequency, yes. And I know you don't like the
I hate that. I hate it.
Now that's not all of them. Some of them just have a certain frequency in the same frequency in both ears. I find that I need a little music to put me into that brainwave state. Can you do it without?
Oh, I don't ever listen to music. No, I am really good at sleeping, though. I'm a very good sleeper. I fall asleep fast. I sleep well. It's a gift my mother's given me.
Yeah, your mom does that well too.
Karen, you were talking yesterday about how it's important, like what we do before we go to bed is really important.
Oh, yes. Pre-sleep rituals. I'm curious if anybody has any pre-sleep rituals. So because the dream world is so active for me, I have found that I have to have specific rituals that I do before I go to sleep to ensure that I have, one, a restful night's sleep, and two, that there's no unwanted energies that come into my space. Some people like to listen to music. Some people like to make sure the TV's not on in the room. I like to do these things. I like to make sure I'm grounded before I go to sleep. Myself, my room, my home. I ground all of these things. I ground myself first. I ground my home. I ground my property. and then I create a force field of light around my property. And then this is one of my favorites. I close my third eye for business, not open for business.
You just lost half the viewers. They're like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Nobody said anything.
Yes. Because it
So
can get a little squirrely when I
Do you
sleep.
do all this in your mind, like grounding?
All of it in my mind. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
It's almost like saying a prayer, sort of, right? Like
Kind of is.
you're just like, I'm putting a barrier over myself. I'm putting a barrier over my family, putting a barrier around. I almost see it like a snow globe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I do a lot of visualization, and it helps create that intention before I sleep that I will not allow in any unwanted energy. I think partly because I travel, I do a lot of astral traveling, and there's a lot of there can be a lot of low level energy in the astral realm. So it's just creating good boundaries. But I'm curious if anybody else has any pre-sleep rituals. I have a couple of prayers that I'll say sometimes too, depending on where I'm at or what I'm doing.
We've got a few. We've got people drink coffee, people smoke weed.
A lot of people smoking weed.
Yeah. That probably helps you relax, right? Yeah. To each his own.
Harry likes vodka.
Ooh, Tibetan. Aaron listens to Tibetan singing bowls or ocean.
Yes.
Singing.
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm.
Watch a couple of Bob Ross episodes.
Bob Ross before, but actually that'd probably be a real happy little tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll put you to sleep every time.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. That's good. That's really good. So let's talk about how to remember your dreams. Since we've talked all about dreams, now I hope that you'll go to bed at some point in the next few days thinking about maybe remembering your dreams. So the first thing would be find a way to record your dreams, whether it's in the notes version of your phone or a notepad next to your bed, a voice recorder. So what I find often happens is the action that I'm taking in the morning will break the barrier for me. So if I have to do too much in the morning, like if I have to open my phone or pick up a pencil or do, like, it breaks the barrier. Turning on a light breaks the barrier. Too much light in the room breaks the barrier. So it's really just getting in the process of, okay, did you remember anything from the dream? There was a blue car. Okay, good. Write it down. Just start whatever you're finding in your dream. Write it down, whether it's writing down or voice recording. I find that I can keep my eyes closed and narrate to my notes, which, boy, they are an interesting thing to read later when you're voice narrating. It's pretty fun. But try to recall as many details as possible. So the power of your subconscious mind, as you saw, 95% of what's happening every day is from your subconscious mind, has the power to inform what's happening with your dream recall. So if you tell yourself before, this could be a pre-sleep ritual, or you tell yourself before you go to sleep, I intend to remember what I'm dreaming about. I would like to remember what I'm dreaming about tonight in the morning. You just have to say, that's all you have to say. And then you'll do that right when you're in that kind of that sleepy phase. You'll wake up the next morning and you'll find that you'll be able to stay a little longer in that creative space for your right brain rather than your left brain.
Just the intention alone is enough to help.
Just the intention. Another way to practice this, which I found that I've actually gotten pretty good at this, and this is not to toot my own horn, but I think it's because I've played a long time in the subconscious realm, is practice waking up without an alarm. So set the intention the night before that you want to wake at 5:30 in the morning. Now, maybe do it on a day that you're not going to get up for
I know. I
work.
was going to say, that's a risky game to play, Karen. We're going to have a bunch of people come next week. They're like, I got freaking fired because you told me not to set an alarm and I showed up late to work every day this week.
Okay. All right, let's try this. On a day you don't have to work. And you could plan maybe a little later so you can sleep in. Try this. You have to tell your subconscious the night before when you want to wake up. I want to wake up at 8 a.m. Okay, do it when you're right in that like soft, groggy space. And it may not happen the first time or the second time or the third time, but I have not really played with this, but I don't set an alarm anymore. I'm usually up 15 minutes before when I need to be up. So that's another way to kind of play around with your dream recall. And then as you build this library with your dreams that you're recalling, you'll be able to kind of identify what the symbols mean, what the messages mean. And they're not weird, remember, you just don't know the language yet. So the other thing that affects your dreams, all of you pot smokers out there, medications and drugs.
Shocker.
I bet you're having some fun dreams. No judgment. I just, there's some, What's interesting, I had learned is that people that are on antidepressants tend to have more violent dreams than those that aren't, because antidepressants suppress a lot of the brain activity. And so our brain has to process that at night, and it processes that through sometimes these violent dreams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Meditation
Right,
and chakra.
Are there any starred messages that we need to just check on? Oh, Ninth Wonder had a nice thing to say. So Berly's energy is soft like humming music. Mrs. Movie's energy is somewhat shifting, constantly probing truths. Haas has the energy and vibe that fluctuates like a beautiful lilting voice.
That's very nice.
That was very kind.
That's nice. Thanks, Ninth Wonder.
It's so July 7th, London Underground bombing. My mate deliberately missed the train by one stop. He put it down to a really bad feeling and a cold shiver as the train pulled up. London Underground notoriously haunted. Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's wild. The one I saw where my grandpa came back as an angel, like he was all in white and acting like an angel. Longfoot buddy. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very cool.
So Mathicali,
I think.
Mathicali. Okay, yeah. My aunt died in March 2022. A few months ago, I had a dream where she was standing in the hallway by my room. I immediately yelled, "This isn't real," and woke up so fast I almost fell out of bed. I'm curious about this. Did it scare you?
Sounds like it must have. If they said this isn't real, like I must have been scared.
Yeah. I too have had dreams like that, but they've been more.
How about Jen?
In 2010, my mother passed away suddenly. Years later, I had a dream with my family all together. She asked for an angel to come take her home. I woke up and cried my eyes out. I'm a stoic army veteran. Wow. That's beautiful.
What do you think our next episode should be on? Angels? Astral traveling?
Can you go back to the live chat for me? Thank you.
That's a good question. I'm not ignoring you, Kim.
No, you're good. I'm
thinking. I'm thinking. Oh, I wanted to address kids and dreams for those of you that have kids or have kids in your life. When kids want to talk about their dreams, remember they're very close to the veil and they're very connected to the spirit world. So encouraging them to talk about what's happening in their dreams is important because it's real for them. And then to feel seen when you're having dreams that you don't like, something's happening when you're sleeping, but to feel heard it's quite powerful. Encourage them to keep talking. What else?
I think this was a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had it. I think there's so much more that we could dive into with dreams. I'm excited to do that in the future.
Yeah, I love dreams. They're just the portal to so many answers to so many questions that we all have. And if we just take the time to kind of just dial in and listen to what they're telling us, we have the answers within our dreams. We just have to learn the language.
Exactly. Justin. The awkward end of the show silence.
Karen, did you have your grounded guidance for this?
Yes, I do. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I've enjoyed this episode so much. So the grounded guidance for this week: tune in like you are tuning the radio in your car. There will be static and noise. There will be interference. Find a way to tune into a clear channel within you. Understand that static is part of the process. It is part of finding your faith in this rhythm. Static is feedback that you often need to realign and find a new channel. As we sift through the buttons on the radio to find a clear channel, we do this because static feels funny to our ears, but it also feels funny to our body, our vibration, our energy body. You will know this when you are not aligned or coherent. Your gut instinct feels off. Trust the static. It is leading you on your path. Static is like a tuning fork for your own frequency and vibration. We must feel the static to know when we aren't aligned. Nature reminds us that everything follows a pattern and a cycle and a rhythm. Tune into the rhythm. Tune out the static. Find your inner heartbeat.
That was good.
That was really good. Wow.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight to this extra long conversation with us.
Yes, thank you.
And if you have an opportunity, love it when we get feedback. You can go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe on our Grounded Guidance channel. That's where at some point we'll have all of this content. We'd love to have you over there on the channel dedicated to this specific podcast. So thanks for hanging out tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you guys soon.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget Pizza Party Saturday.
Pizza Party Saturday.